I want to unpack a little story here that I hope that you will find extremely valuable. It's about the so-called trial of Jesus and his sentencing to death. The only person allowed in the Holy of Holies of the Jewish temple was the high priest. Once a year, the high priest was allowed in the presence of God. The first high priest was Aaron, who was chosen by God and anointed with precious oil that was reserved only for that occasion. The next high priest was Aaron's firstborn son, and although the Bible does not say so, the succession to the firstborn son became the law. Flash forward to the time of Jesus. The law given by Moses concerning appointment of the high priest was now out the window. The high priests serving in the Jewish temple built by Herod were chosen by and worked under their Roman rulers. High priests were changed out frequently. But there was one high priest that served a fair long time, from about 18 AD to 36 AD. Scholars believe this meant that he was good at pleasing his Roman superiors and keeping those under him, the Jews, under control. That man was Joseph Caiaphas. Now, Caiaphas is mentioned often in Scripture. He was the high priest and the head of the Sanhedrin during the trial and crucifixion of Jesus. I'm standing amongst these pillar bases, many of which are original, and they're placed in the location they say that the Sanhedrin met during the time of Christ. Now, Caiaphas's family is thought to have become extremely wealthy in their powerful position. Caiaphas controlled and profited from the lucrative money changing and the sale of sacrifices here at the temple. Under the law of Moses, every male of Israel over 20 years old was required to redeem his soul by giving a half shekel of silver when a census was taken of Israel. No man was exempt. Now, the money changers served an important function within the temple. For a fee, they would exchange a person's foreign coins into coins that were acceptable within the temple. Only the special half-shekel coin was allowed for atonement money. So the money changers would then take a Jew's foreign currency or Roman coins and exchange them for a fee. This was the greatest source of revenue for the temple. When Jesus entered the temple and saw that God's command had become a criminal racket, he was angry. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. "It is written," he said to them, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." Now, this isn't the first time that Jesus had offended the religious establishment. He had accused the Pharisees of being a brood of vipers and hypocrites, not just once, but many times. The Gospel of Luke tells us that it was Judas, one of the 12 disciples, that went to the chief priests and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They agreed to give him money, and Judas watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them. Now imagine the scene. Jesus is brought before Caiaphas, the chief priest, and the elders and the scribes. Caiaphas, the wealthy, corrupt, politically connected high priest of the temple, stands toe-to-toe with Jesus, a poor, powerless Galilean. And he asks Jesus just who in the world he thinks he is. Jesus replies, and I'm paraphrasing, "If I tell you, you won't believe me. And if I ask you, you won't answer me, and you won't let me go." Then the high priest stood up and said to Jesus, "Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you?" But Jesus remained silent. The high priest said to him, "I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." "Yes, it is as you say," Jesus replied. "But I say to all of you, in the future you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" "He is worthy of death," they answered. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, "Prophesy to us, Christ, who hit you?" This is an amazing moment in time. The high priest of the Jewish temple, the anointed one, the only one allowed into the Holy of Holies, is mere inches away from what Christians believe is the very face of God, the Jewish Messiah, the creator of the universe, who humbled himself and became man. And instead of bowing down and worshiping him, Caiaphas mocks him and allows him to be beaten and spat upon. Jesus threatened the entire corrupt world that Joseph Caiaphas had built. Caiaphas thought that the death of Jesus would make his position and fortune more secure. And so he turned Jesus over to the Roman prefect Pontius Pilate, who then ordered that he be scourged and then crucified. Here is another amazing thing. In 1990, while doing some road improvements, workers just outside of Jerusalem found the family grave of Caiaphas. Inside were 12 limestone boxes called ossuaries, or bone boxes, and one of those boxes was decorated with a beautiful and rare pattern of rosettes, along with the inscription, Joseph, son of Caiaphas. Inside were the bones of a 60-year-old man. Scholars agree that these are the bones of the high priest Joseph Caiaphas. With the discovery of the Caiaphas ossuary, the three most important people that were involved in the trial and death of Jesus of Nazareth, Joseph Caiaphas, Pontius Pilate, and Herod Antipas, have now been verified with certainty.